Hello, my dear students. I am Priyanka Koiri, your science teacher, and the chapter that we are discussing is heredity and evolution. Okay, so in the last class, what we have learned is that the rules for the inheritance of trait in case of two traits. Okay, so in the last class, we discussed about uh, pea plant, which has round and green seed, and another one which is yellow and wrinkle seeds. Okay, so we crossed that two plants, and what we have found is that in the F1 generation all the seeds were round and yellow, and in the F2 generation the ratio was 9 is to 3 is to 3 is to 1. And we also discussed about dihybrid cross, and we learned that dihybrid cross is a cross between two plants of the same species where two traits are considered. Okay, where the transfer of two traits are considered, that is your dihybrid cross. Okay, in today's class we are going to learn about laws of inheritance. What are the different laws of inheritance and who gave those laws of inheritance will be discussed in today's class. Okay, so the laws of inheritance were given by Mendel. Okay, so Mendel conducted two main experiments. One is your monohybrid cross and another one is your dihybrid cross to determine the laws of inheritance. Okay, while experimenting, Mendel found that certain factors were always being transferred down to the progeny in a stable way. Those factors are now called as genes. Okay, so when Mendel was performing this monohybrid cross or dihybrid cross, he was experimenting with those, and he found that there are certain factors which are transferred from the parent to the offspring. At that time, Mendel was not aware of gene, so nowadays those factors are known as genes. Okay, now Mendel's experiment lead to the formation of Mendel's laws known as laws of inheritance. So all these experiments that were conducted by Mendel helped him to derive the laws of inheritance, which are known as laws of dominance, law of segregation, and law of independent assortment. Okay, so at first we are going to study about what is law of dominance. So according to this law, hybrid offspring will only inherit the dominant trait in the phenotype. Okay, so in case of a hybrid offspring, that means in case of a heterozygous condition, only that phenotype will be expressed that is dominant. The trait that is observed in the progeny of F1 generation is the dominant trait. Okay, this is what we have discussed in the previous classes, all right. And the trait that disappeared in the progeny of F1 generation is the recessive trait. So the trait that appears in the F1 generation, that is dominant, and the trait that disappears in the first F1 generation is recessive. Okay, so here you can see the law of dominance can be understood by this way. The first diagram that you see is red apple. Okay, and for red apple the genotype is the capital A and capital A. Then we can see a yellow apple is there. Okay, and the genotype for that is your small a and small a. In the third case you can see a red apple, but here the genotype is capital A and small a. So since a single copy of capital A is enough to express the red phenotype, that is your red apple, I mean to say the red apple, that is why that red apple or capital A is considered as your dominant. So since capital A and small a is a hybrid, or it is a heterozygous condition, and in heterozygous condition the phenotype that is expressed, which is red apple, red colored apple, so this is considered to be as dominant. Okay, now the next law is your law of segregation. So it states that during the production of gametes, okay, during the production of gametes, two copies of each heredity factor segregate, that means separate, so that the offspring acquire one factor from each parent. Okay, so according to this law, during gamete formation, okay, during gamete formation, this factor, heredity factor or the genes segregate, that means they separate. Okay, they separate so that each offspring so that the offspring get one factor. Okay, in other words, allele pairs segregate during the formation of gamete and reunite during fertilization. Okay, so this means that during gamete formation the alleles or the trait segregate. Okay, segregate, that means they separate from one another and they reunite during fertilization. The observations of monohybrid cross gave rise to law of dominance and law of segregation. So after observing the results from monohybrid cross, Mendel derived that law of dominance and law of segregation. Now the next, before going to that, here you can see the law of segregation. Here we have male parent. The male parent has capital Y and small y, and in gametes, in case of gamete, you can see that capital Y is separate and small y is separate. Okay, so during gamete formation the traits or the alleles have separated. Similarly for female parent, the capital Y and small y are together, but during gamete formation it has separated into two different parts. So this is what is your law of segregation. Now coming to the next law, which is law of independent assortment. So law of independent assortment states that a pair of trait segregates independently of another pair during gamete formation. Okay, thus different traits get equal opportunity to occur together. So according to law of independent assortment, the trait segregates. We have learned that during gamete formation traits segregate, but this segregation is independent from another pair. Okay, this observation of the observations of dihybrid cross gave rise to law of independent assortment. So after studying law of dihybrid cross, Mendel learned about independent assortment. Okay, now in this diagram let's try to understand law of independent assortment. So here you can see the parental generation and the F1 generation, and this F1 generation we are getting male gametes and female gametes. So in case of male gametes and female gametes, we are getting 4 different type of gametes, right? Capital R, capital Y, okay, capital R, small r, capital Y, small r, small y. These 4 different gametes are possible only because these gametes have segregated independently from one another. Okay, if the gametes are dependent on one another, then these 4 types of gamete would not have been possible. Okay, so this is what your Mendel's third law, that is law of independent assortment, says. Okay, now coming to the next part, that after all those plants, after there are so many plants which Mendel could have used to study about his this monohybrid cross or dihybrid cross. Mendel could have taken different plant, okay, other plants also to study this monohybrid cross or dihybrid cross, but he selected pea plant. Why did he selected this pea plant comes the question. Okay, and this question comes in your exam also for 2 marks, that why Mendel selected pea plants for his study. So the answer would be, why Mendel selected pea plant, the answer would be the pea plant can be easily grown and maintained. Okay, it can be easily grown anywhere, it can be grown. Okay, they are naturally self-pollinating but can also be cross-pollinated. Okay, the third point states that it has several contrasting characters like tall, dwarf, to have different sheets, to have round and wrinkled seed. Okay, and then flower color, that is your, some have violet color flowers, some have white color flower. So there are many different traits that can be used. So for this reason also Mendel selected pea plant. Next, it is an annual plant, therefore many generations can be studied within a short period of time, and they reproduce sexually. So these are the few points for which Mendel selected pea plant for study. Okay, now let us recall what we have studied. We studied about laws of inheritance, and under these laws of inheritance we studied the three laws, which is a law of dominance, law of segregation, and law of independent assortment. And then we studied selection of pea plant, that is why Mendel selected pea plants for his study. Okay, so that's all for today's class. Thank you. See you in the next class.